Is it
It's recording.
running?
Yeah, it's ready.
We're running over here.
Oh my gosh, we're live.
We're recording our
Yep.
idiocy.
That's, yeah.
I keep meaning to make a bloopers reel.
Oh, you gotta do that. You gotta do that. I gotta say hi, folks. Hey, here's Sty out here at East Twin Lake Campground. Look at who I got with me.
Hey guys, Travis from Tales of a Campground host, formerly Destination Great Lakes.
Formerly.
Formerly.
And then we've got Travis's camera ace right here, and Stephanie's hiding behind the camera.
Yep, she's making sure that I look good. I don't know that that's possible.
Yeah. If she can fix that, she can fix anything. I tell you what, they can fix awesome pizzas. We had pizza last night.
Oh, was it good? It was good.
I could only eat one piece, but every bite was like gourmet. It was awesome.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Good.
Thank
you.
You're welcome. I thought it was really entertaining when you started looking at that thing and going, I want one.
I want one of those pizza ovens. He's got the most awesome pizza oven. I'm sure he's going to be doing videos on that pizza oven.
Yeah, they're coming. I've tried to do it a couple of times and I haven't liked how the videos turned out yet.
So keep your eyes out there. Tales of a Campground host and his pizza oven. I tell you, that thing is awesome. I gotta have one. They're not cheap, but
they are not.
But boy, I tell you, at least the pizza matches the price of the oven.
Right.
That's
right.
Yeah, if it's going to produce that good of food, it's worth the extra dollars.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm all for it.
We bought it because Stephanie's mom has one, and we'd borrow it when we go camping, and it's just like, nope, we have to have our own.
Got to have your own. That's right.
It's one of those necessities when you live on site for 3 to 6 months out of the year. You get tired of Bratzburger's chicken.
Right. Yeah, the old camp foods. And people don't realize just how narrow that camp food menu really is.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can expand it, but it takes a lot of work.
And so what you do, you figure out how to have those good home-cooked meals out at camp. Now, Stephanie, in the past, there's been a few videos of things she's made in camp. Last year, the year before, I think.
Oh yeah, the camp chili.
The camp chili. Well, and then what were those?
Cookies?
No.
The bacon cucumber tomato salad.
Nope.
No.
Those were all good too.
They were. They were.
There was something else. What was it? It was a pizza pocket kind of thing, I think.
Was it the
hobo packets?
No.
No, the campfire sliders, maybe?
Oh,
yes,
the sliders.
That's the sliders.
We never did get them made over the campfire.
Actual campfire yet. In the camper.
Yeah, we made them in the camper.
And I remember that was actually the first food one I watched, and Stephanie's preparing it all and showing how she does it, and I'm sitting there drooling, watching that video, and I'm like, am I ambitious enough to do that for myself?
They're actually pretty easy.
Actually, I think that's actually the first food video we ever did.
Oh, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
It sure had I was pretty hangry by the end of that. It had me thinking that would be nice in front of watching something on Netflix or something and having a plate full.
We usually make them with a tomato soup or something.
Yeah.
But that does get me thinking about what you and I wanted to talk about today.
Yeah.
Because
I don't have high expectations.
No, I don't either.
About our conversation.
No, not at all. Especially considering we started off down the food rabbit hole, but it does actually fit into the idea of what our expectations at camp.
Right.
Because it's very easy to set yourself way up. I'm going to make this a gourmet meal, and then when you get out there, it's like, how in the heck am I going to do this?
Yeah. How can you actually accomplish what you expected?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the topic of expectations, so that people understand, is there's expectations of the campground.
Yep.
And there's expectations of the campers.
Yep.
And they're usually in conflict.
Very often are they in conflict.
The the campground and the campground hosts or the whoever's managing that campground, they have certain expectations of how things should go in their campground and how campers should behave and things they should or shouldn't do. On the other hand, campers, they come into our campgrounds, and what do? They expect us to change our expectations to match theirs.
Yeah.
And that's where we come into conflict.
Well, and there's also the expectations that campers have of other campers.
Oh yeah,
'Cause there's plenty
between each other.
Because there's plenty of conflict that we've run into over the summer there as well. I'm thinking of, 4th of July with my jet skis.
Yeah, your jet skis on 4th of July. Yeah.
One of these years I'm actually going to record them. I'm just going to set the camera up and let people see. I mean, Black Lake it's a modest sized lake. It's about 160 acres.
And
but when you take those 2 bays out,
yeah,
it's probably only about 80 usable.
Yeah, right. And the thing with Black Lake is, talking expectations, Black Lake doesn't have private residences on it.
Right.
It's all national forest. It's surrounded by national forest.
Yep.
You would expect a lake that's inside the national forest completely to be pretty relaxed and calm and wilderness as close as possible.
So canoes, maybe some aluminum boats with a small motor.
With a small outboard motor,
kayaks,
fishing boats.
Yeah.
And even if all you have is a larger boat, you're not out there to run a speedboat or to be pulling skiers.
Right.
You're out there to fish. You're going to just, for the most part, be idling around the lake.
Right.
But what do you have? You have people show up with jet skis.
Jet skis and speedboats pulling tubes and skiers. And I get it. They're out there to have a good time. But you get that use clash where the people are out there to enjoy themselves.
And that's it, is
in various ways. And that definition of enjoying themselves is where the conflict comes in.
See, and I tried to explain, because I had jet skis up on Beaver Lake, which is only 50 acres.
Yeah, it's smaller than my usable.
Yeah, and I tried to tell folks up there that I sympathize with the fact that the jet skis are annoying
and disruptive,
but they've got the legal right to use them. I can't stop them.
Right.
Forest Service, their stance on it was, well, if they take it out of the water into the campsite and run it, you can do something about it.
Right, but as
long as they got it out on the lake, there's nothing we can do. Well, okay. But I said to a camper there, I said, speedboats and jet skis on these pristine little lakes, nobody expects that.
Right.
Now, if this was spring break down in Florida, you would expect more jet skis than you got anything else.
Absolutely.
It's in its place. And here we find so many times they'll bring things here, their expectations here that don't fit. They don't fit.
And it always brings to my, I always sit there and I think, and I'm like, well, what did you expect? What did you think you were going to find when you come here? Because if you're going to a big private campground or a big state campground where, the 3/4 of the lake is privately owned, like you said, okay, I, as a camper, would not have the expectation that the lake is going to be calm and quiet.
Yeah.
But going to these national forest campgrounds, my expectation would be it's going to be calm and quiet, because the people come out here to, you can hear the wind today, and I hope it's not affecting the audio too much.
Yeah, me too.
But, that expectation translates not even on the water, but off the water. A couple weeks ago, out at Black Lake, there was a gentleman that, it was dark, because it's getting dark early this time of year, and he's blasting his music. I could hear him on my host site, and he was on site 7.
Yep.
So half the campground away.
Yep.
And I took a walk up there, and I just said, hey, would you mind turning it down a little bit? And he looked at me, he said, quiet hours aren't until 11.
Yeah. See, and he had his information wrong to
He
start with.
had his information wrong, and I did set him straight on that. And I said, yeah, you're absolutely right, but here's the thing, there's a second part of that rule.
Yeah.
And I explained it to him, and I said, most of the people that come out here want to hear the woods. And his reply was, well, I don't want to hear the woods. I want to hear my music.
Right.
So it's those expectations.
And that's it is you get an individual like that, and their personal argument is, well, you're making me have a miserable trip because I can't listen to my music, and that's not fair.
Yellow jacket.
Yellow jacket?
Yellow jacket.
Stop that.
Yeah, he was
don't want them.
crawling right here.
We don't want
Will you
them.
take care of these bees, Sty?
Take care of them bees.
That's
No.
another expectation.
That's it. That's it. I wish I would have brought a pay envelope with me so I could have read the back of that.
You'll go get one.
But but people don't realize what and first of all, folks, we're both campground hosts.
Absolutely.
He's got 2 campgrounds, I got 2 campgrounds, and so we deal with all of these campers. Oh Lord, she's walking all the way out to pay station. No.
She will.
Oh, but
See, expectations.
expectations. I guess we shouldn't have voiced our expectation.
Well, for some reason I thought I had one in the truck.
Sure, and I got some down in my truck. It's locked though.
It's not that far of a walk to your pay station from here.
Yeah, but we have to take it from the perspective is what's in the best interest of everybody,
Yep.
not just one person. And I would say between 85 and 95% of our campers that when they arrive in our campgrounds are expecting a nice, quiet, peaceful camp experience.
They're out here to enjoy nature.
The outdoors. They want to hear the wind in the trees. They want to hear the loons singing. They want to hear
The barred owls at 5 in the morning.
Barred owls. Yeah. Here at Eastwind, I got a pair of barred owls that love to hoot in the middle of the wee hours of the morning.
Wee hours. It was still dark when they were hooting.
Yeah. And
It was fun to listen to.
yeah, now some people, I've had campers that would have complained. They would have come to me and said, when we come out here, we don't expect to be kept up all night by the wildlife. Well, you're outdoors where the wildlife is. You
Yeah.
came into the wildlife's home, and if they're going to be noisy, there's nothing I can do about that. But if you have another guest in the forest being noisy like that, then I'll get involved.
Yeah.
I'll get involved and have them tone it down. But also, again, there's campers that feel they've got all the justification in the world. They expect you to have the expectation that you as a host are the Gestapo.
Oh, yeah.
You go over there and enforce this and enforce that and enforce. They don't even know that what they're asking you to enforce, you have no power to do so.
Yeah, and we don't
our
actually
hands are tied.
We don't even have enforcement powers.
None whatsoever.
Literally.
The closest we have to enforcement powers is contacting the Forest Service and or our local sheriff's department.
Contacting someone that does.
And we use that on folks that they say, you don't have any authority. Well, no, I don't, but would you like to talk to somebody that does? Because I can bring them out here, you know. There we go. Now, this is what I was talking about. I had someone telling me that our dock down on our Site 9 was dangerous, and that there was no way that as a host I should allow that to continue. I should get down there and do this to the dock and that to the dock to make it safe, in their opinion, safe. This is a pay envelope that you fill out when you stay in one of our sites, right? And this is also on our website where you go to reserve a site. This is what it says. You, mind you, you are responsible for your own safety. Recreation use has inherent risks, and you may encounter a variety of unexpected and or dangerous conditions which may lead to serious injury or death. It is your responsibility to be informed and take precautions. But yet, here's an example. We had a well up at Beaver Lake that didn't test, came back. Too high levels of bacterium in it, got to shut it down. We can't have our campers drinking that water. So we shut the well down, and I had campers tell me that we were obligated to provide them with potable drinking water. Well, we're obligated to make sure that we don't provide you with water that's not potable. And this water was not.
Right. So they shut the well down until they could fix it.
So that it was safe for our campers.
Right, which I think is reasonable.
But we had campers saying, it's our problem. And I wonder if it's motorcycle or
It
ATV.
sounds like motorcycles. Here's
Yeah.
an expectation.
Here's
Keep your UTV on the trail. I think those are motorcycles. I hope they're motorcycles.
I do too, because if
Otherwise
not,
we're gonna-
we'll have to pause and,
We'll have to turn the camera.
yeah, they're motorcycles. So,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
this will be a cut in the video while
Yeah,
we
yep. While we wait for them.
let them roll through.
It is fall ride weekend.
It is.
Okay, there they go.
There they go. Back to it.
Back to it. So anyway, folks, I've had people say, well, you know, we had a storm blow through and it trashed my tent. Is there anything you guys can do about it? Well,
Nope.
what kind of expectation is that? Well, you better read your pay envelope. It says there's inherent risks that
A
can
tree
cause
falling on
damage.
your tent would be one of them.
That's it. Is we can't control Mother Nature and what happens.
Obviously, we're fighting with her right now.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier today about bees' nests, right?
Mhm.
Well, we do our best to try to identify if there's a bee's nest and get rid of them.
Right.
But that doesn't mean we'll find every one of them.
No.
And
No, it doesn't.
and if your children get stung by bees and you come to us and scream and holler at us, you know, it's your fault, you should have gotten rid of those bees, it's all your fault.
Mhm.
That's an unreasonable expectation because we can't find every bee nest in the forest.
We try.
And,
At least to find the ones where people are going to be.
and even if we don't find them, this is perfectly clear. You're here at your own risk. It says you're responsible for your safety, not me.
Yep.
You're supposed to be responsible for yourself, so don't expect the Forest Service or its hosts to be your personal guard for everything out here in the forest. We're
No.
not.
No.
We had a really,
Oh, that one. When you were visiting me?
uh-huh.
Oh, God.
That,
So Sty's over visiting me my last weekend, hosting, and you know we're just shooting the breeze like we
Yeah.
usually do when we get together. And this gal comes up onto my site and she identifies herself as a Forest Service employee, which
I didn't
okay.
find out till later that actually she was.
she was. And she looks at, you know, and I said, you know, is there something I can help you with? Because usually when someone comes up onto my site or Sty's site, they need something. You know, that would be a somewhat reasonable expectation. And she says, do you guys have a gun?
Or a knife.
Or a knife? And I kind of looked at her and she said, oh, well, I was hiking the trail and I came across the injured bunny that I'd like to have dispatched. Its shoulder's all bloody. I think its shoulder's broken. It was laying in the sun. I kind of moved it off to the side, but could you go dispatch this bunny for me?
Out on
Out
a
on-
Forest Service trail, by the way.
Yeah. Which, by the way, it's illegal to be discharging a firearm
Right.
within 100 yards of a developed rec area.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So
And
that trail's part of the developed rec area.
it's right in the middle of it. That trail actually would be the line of the center of the whole perimeter of the
Yep.
lake,
Yep.
of the rec area, so it's 100 yards either side of it.
Yep.
So yeah.
I first of all, if I discharge a firearm in there, I'm in a lot of
Lot of
trouble
trouble.
unless I'm like life or death.
Right.
So whether or not I had a gun with me was irrelevant.
Right.
And
Both of us were shocked.
Yeah, I'm not going to go all Rambo on a bunny.
That's it. When she asked if we had a gun or a knife to go out and dispatch this bunny, I thought, my luck, I'd get out there if I didn't have a firearm with me, and I'd pull out my old bushcrafting knife, and I'd be out there knifing a bunny, and somebody would be videotaping that, and it'd go viral, and I wouldn't get any credit for it.
Right.
But I'd be the star.
Campground host knife's bunny.
Right, yeah.
More at 5 o'clock.
And if I'm wearing campground host gear,
which you were.
Which I was.
We both were.
It would have been very, very kind of
bad PR.
Yeah, the PR would have been terrible. But her coming in with even the slightest expectation that
we were going to take care of this
that
bunny.
A host would have an immediate accessible firearm and or knife to go kill a rabbit on that campground's trail.
That was way beyond anything reasonable.
We were almost speechless.
Almost. I mean, we started laughing about it later,
but it was so unreasonable of an expectation that we had talked about doing this video and realized, boy, that fits right in. We got to tell this one.
But I mean, some of the other expectations we get. You talked about, providing potable water, but firewood.
Oh, firewood that's been an issue for me this year.
And it has been for me for the last 3 years.
Yep.
People come up to me and expect me to
have firewood to
either have firewood or that there's firewood for sale within a couple miles. And when I would tell them, at least until we got our vendor, that the closest firewood for sale was 20 miles away.
Yep.
They got a little grumpy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it says there's firewood available. Oh yeah, there's firewood available. There's some over there and over there and over there.
The woods is packed full
of it. Go get it.
There's dead firewood laying all over these woods. My campgrounds had campers in it all season, and I could go out here and put a week's worth of firewood together in about 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, easy.
It's laying all over the place. But yet they'll come to you and they'll go, where can we get firewood? Right there? What?
Right there.
No, we want already cut bundled,
split, bundled, kiln dried.
And it's like, you didn't come to camp prepared, did you?
No.
And why would you have an expectation that we would have wood cut and split and dried and all ready for you when you're paying $15 a night and wood locally is $6 a bundle?
Yeah.
So you're gonna use at least 3 bundles having a campfire that night, and so that's $18, but you only paid us $15, so we got to pitch in $3 just so you have firewood. That can't happen. Because it's actually worth a lot more than that, because unless a volunteer cut all that firewood, what it costs per hour for a Forest Service employee to buck up firewood for you for free is a very unreasonable expectation.
Now, that being said, there are campgrounds out west that you and I have found on rec.gov that do provide firewood.
Yep.
But you're paying $35, $40 a night.
And a lot of that firewood is provided by local volunteer organizations.
Yep.
It's not the actual Forest Service staff preparing firewood and splitting and all that.
Right.
And they might provide fuel and some equipment for a group to do that.
Right.
When they do a nice timber cut.
Right.
Around a campground. Oh yeah, they buck it all up for the campers.
Yep.
And I did that here. I had to take a couple of hemlocks down this year, bucked it into firewood lengths myself. Didn't cost Forest Service nothing. And I just left the pile there and said,
help yourself.
Help yourself. Well, it's too big. It needs to be split. Split it yourself.
Yeah, that was, now that, to me, that's not even an unreasonable expectation. At that point, that's just being rude. Because you're providing them with firewood and they're not happy with what it is because it's too big.
Yeah.
They still have to put effort into it. Now, that's not even unreasonable. That's rude.
See, and that's the thing is, what should you expect when you head to a campground? To me, what you should expect as a camper going to the campground is the campground will be generally safe.
Yeah, generally. There's
Generally
gonna be some
safe.
things
There's things that are out of people's control.
Yep.
But generally safe. Campsite's going to be clean.
Reasonably clean.
Reasonably clean, right?
Because let's be honest, if we say clean, someone's going
We're
to
gonna
say
you
you
didn't
missed
sweep.
something.
You didn't sweep.
You didn't sweep.
That the fire pit is usable and safe.
Yep.
To the best we can get it.
Because let's be
there's
honest,
there's fire pit issues
We don't have the ability to detox it after
Right,
somebody burns batteries.
right. that we don't. Yeah, we don't know what they burnt in that. We try to clean out the debris, but
We do the best we can.
We do the best we can. And you should be able to expect a fire pit, a picnic table, and a place to put your camper or tent.
Absolutely. Any more than that?
Any more than that, I say, I've had people with the water situation say, well, we got here and there's no water. Well, you should have brought some water with you.
Yeah.
Whenever you go camping, bring water with you.
Well, I mean,
just in case there's
Yeah.
no potable water close by.
well, we got here Friday, and I knew that you had water.
Right.
But what if your well failed? I
Right.
brought the camper with 40 gallons of water in it just on the off chance.
Well, Beaver, when the water was shut down, I had 3 campers up there. All 3 of them said, oh, well, it's inconvenient to not have the pump, but we all brought water. The one guy had 3 cases, 48 bottles of drinking water.
Yep.
He says, oh, yeah, I can make my coffee and cook my food and have drinking water because
Yeah.
I brought enough with,
Yeah.
but I'd prefer to use the well. But if it's not there, I'm prepared.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
he had no
reasonable.
expectations.
He had no expectation.
It was, I'm going to be prepared for my own well-being, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's all you should expect from your campground.
And maybe clean
And-
bathrooms.
Oh, and clean bathrooms. Yeah,
Unless someone just blew it up and we haven't found it yet.
that's it. Is your expectations for clean bathrooms are limited to the point that we can't control who goes in there and makes a poopy mess. So if we just cleaned it, an hour later you might go in there and say, I can't use this, look at it, it's nasty.
In which case I would,
and
and
that's-
my expectation as the host would be, please come tell me.
Well, and that's it, is if you're going to be a good camper, you'd go to the host and say, I just went to use that outhouse and somebody's got messed it up so bad you can't use it.
Yep.
That host is going to be thrilled you let them know,
It's so much easier to clean it.
and they're going to be very upset over who did it.
Yeah.
And because our expectations on the bathrooms are, use it like you would use, like you own it and it's at your house.
Let's
Don't use it like it's a pigsty.
use it like a civilized human being would.
Yeah, right. I mean, don't stand on the rim and try to poop and hit the hole. It don't work.
Yeah.
Well, we end up working is what happens.
Yep.
We end up working trying to clean it up. But bathrooms, yes, I agree that you go to a campground that provides privies. They should be usable, clean, and usable. What should campground hosts expect of campers? All I expect of my campers is read the
barn.
instruction sign down at my pay station. You got to drive by it. It's big as day. You pull up in your vehicle and you can read the whole list of rules of the campground.
Yep.
I ask you to read that and remember those rules and just follow them. And that takes all of the rest of the subjects out of the window, because
It really does.
if you just follow those simple list of rules, you're not going to have any issues, especially with campground hosts.
Exactly. Because if you're following those rules, I'm not going to talk to you about burning garbage. I'm not going to talk to you about your pet being off the leash. I'm not going to talk to you about your pet being on the beach.
Right.
There's a whole host of things that I might talk to you about that I'm not going to talk to you about.
Right, because you already know, don't do that.
Yeah.
That we don't do here. And I think it's important for us as hosts to, when somebody wants to become controversial over something, to just explain to them, I'm not picking on you.
I'm just the messenger.
Because I'm giving you the exact same message I would give the person on that campsite or that campsite.
Yep.
The message never changes. It's always the same.
How'd you put it earlier this weekend? We're walking information booths?
That's it. We're walking information booths. I have to say, that's 90% of my interaction with campers is, oh, excuse me, host, I have a question.
Yep.
And I love that. That's what I'm here for. I love answering people's questions for them, but I don't like having to clean up after pigs. I don't like finding things people are doing that are putting the campground at risk
and other guests.
And I would say you can ask me questions all day long, and I wouldn't bother me a bit.
Well,
but
let's throw a caveat on that, because there are a couple of times that I think you would agree with me. I would rather you hold your questions.
Oh, some of them.
Like dinner time?
Yeah.
If it's not a life or death situation and you walk up and you can see I just pulled my meal off.
Yep.
Just say, hey, when you're done eating, would you mind coming down by site 3?
Yeah.
I've got a question.
Yeah. And that's it. It's common courtesy.
You and I have both had meals ruined because we've ended up talking to somebody for 2 hours, and when we get back to it, the flies have been all over it.
Yep. I've been woke up in the middle of the night with someone complaining about something that happened way early in the day.
Yep.
And it's like, why'd you wait till now to wake me up and then start saying do something about it? Well, I can't do anything about it. It's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And
now, that being
if you
said,
would have came to me when the incident occurred,
I could have
helped you out. But
and that's not to say that if it's an emergency, you shouldn't knock on our door at 2 in the morning or interrupt our meal.
But that's it. Those are emergencies. That's where it has to be addressed right now, right at this minute.
And you being out of firewood or wanting to know where to find firewood or where to go get dinner is not an emergency.
No, it's a personal problem.
Yep.
And as hosts, we try to be tactful with what we say to folks.
We try.
But sometimes
the filters slip.
So many times I want to tell them, oh, really? Sounds like a personal problem to me, not a campground problem.
Right.
But I don't.
And especially here, there's such good cell service. Why someone would come and ask you where to eat when they could just pull their phone out and look it up?
Right.
Makes no sense.
Well, and that too is our own supervisor has told me, he says, even in most emergency type situations, let's say you have 2 campers that are fighting with each other.
Yep.
We got all the contact phone numbers for them.
Yep.
Give them the contact phone numbers. Tell them the easiest one is 911.
Yep.
You've got cell service. I am not a cop.
Nope.
I'm not getting in the middle of that. What if I accidentally, unintentionally upset somebody and they pull a gun on me?
Yeah, exactly.
So why should I walk into a hostile situation as a host? No. And I've learned this last month, I've done it a few times now and it's worked well. People come to me and say, so-and-so on such a site, they keep their dog tied up most of the time, but once in a while they'll let it loose, and it ran over into my campsite a couple of times, and I don't want that going on. You get up there and do something about it. And I'll say to them, did you talk to that camper?
Well, I mean, how many times has Liberty escaped this weekend?
Yeah, and just ask that camper, hey, can you keep a closer eye on your dog and not let it in my campsite?
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't talk to him. But you're the host. You should go deal with that.
Exactly.
Well, no, wait a minute. You need to be, campgrounds are like big neighborhoods.
Yep.
If your neighbor's doing something that upsets your happiness on your place, you're going to go talk to your neighbor.
Well, a reasonable person would.
A reasonable person would.
But let's be honest, there's unreasonable people that would call 911.
Over something that's not
like a dog that got out.
Right, it's not an emergency. But the thing is we as hosts, we are not the Gestapo, we're not cops, we're not here to put our lives in any form of risk whatsoever.
No, absolutely not.
So if you've got a controversy that is that heated you should be calling 911.
Yeah.
And
not
if you
me.
don't have cell service, come and ask the host, how do I get a hold of someone that can take care of that? Because the host will find a way to contact the outside help.
Oh yeah, the host
And-
the host usually either knows where to find the cell service, or in the case of at Black Lake, I've got a cell booster.
Yeah, yeah,
So
And-
if it's a true emergency, help can be had.
yeah, yeah. So the expectation that the host has this, he's the strong arm of the law, is not reasonable.
No.
Is not reasonable. All the hosts, what we're here for is to keep peaceful campgrounds.
Yeah, and kind of
And
clean up after them.
yeah, and we clean up after them. But as far as enforcement type
Right.
activity, it's not truly enforcement, but we're
We're getting compliance is what we're getting.
we're trying to keep balance in our campgrounds
Yeah.
between the rules and the personal differences between people.
Right.
And because, like I said, it's like a neighborhood. You got people that like each other, people that don't, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah.
Yep.
But they got to live in the same neighborhood. So you got to try to keep that balance and make everybody come to the middle and
Right.
enjoy what you came here for. And that's
Right.
what we do, is we're mediating all the time,
Yep.
trying to keep it that way.
You
And,
know,
and we have times where we cannot succeed because the rules play against us,
right.
like with you and the bear hunters.
Right. The bear hunters would be a perfect example.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
There was literally nothing I could do because, and for some context, late last month, middle of August, some bear hunt dogs ran a bear right through the campground. Now, ideally, that's not a good situation. It really isn't. There's definitely some safety concerns there, but at the end of the day, there's nothing that I as a host can do because the bears and the dogs don't read signs.
Right? They don't see the must be on leash.
Yeah, they have. What are you gonna do? Leash the bear
Yeah,
that your dogs are chasing?
Right.
That'd be kind of entertaining to watch.
yeah.
And I had some campers that the bear
Actually-
went right through their sight, and they were like, "That's the coolest thing I've ever seen."
And I was going to say, actually, and hearing it right from a Wisconsin DNR officer, what an awesome experience to be able to tell a story about 5-10 years from now.
Yeah.
We were at Black Lake and we had a bear run right through our camp, and here comes a pack of dogs right behind it. You should have seen it, man. It scared us to death. But it gave them an awesome camp story.
It did.
But
But there's this one gal who, unreasonable expectations, came onto my site for 2 hours complaining, demanding that I do
that
something
you
about
do
it.
something.
And I looked at her a couple of times and I said, I sympathize that you're upset, but there's nothing I can do about it. The bear hunter is allowed to come in here and get his dogs.
Yep.
The bear is going to run. The bear's running.
Right.
It's just trying to
It's
get away from these
it's
dogs.
not trying to steal your picnic basket. He's trying to get away from the dogs.
Yogi is not going after your picnic basket.
No.
But she just wouldn't
Accept
listen
that,
to
yeah.
reason. And then she's like, well, they can't camp in here, can they? And I said, well, as a
Actually-
matter of fact, yes, they can.
Yeah.
Well, but they've got 8 dogs per truck. And if the dogs are quiet and leashed, no
They're
big deal.
following the rules.
They're following the rules. There is no limit on the number of dogs you can
Right.
have in here.
Yeah.
And she just wouldn't stop for 2 hours.
Right.
Now, as a host, my expectation would be, look, I told her, I said, you need to understand, I can't do anything.
Right.
If you have a complaint, you can. Here's the numbers you can
There's
call.
the numbers.
And she wouldn't accept that I couldn't do anything about it.
That's
As a host, my expectation would be that she would eventually understand that I can't do anything.
right. See, and that's it, is from a host perspective, for me, that's an expectation I have, is once I explain to you how things actually are.
Yep.
My expectation is you don't have to like it,
But you accept it.
but accept what I just told you as far as I can go.
Yep.
And don't keep berating me because I just explained to you there's nothing I can do.
Right.
I don't deserve to be berated or name called or anything else because I can't do anything.
I can't.
So my expectation is let's keep this a peaceful conversation. I'll tell you what I can,
Yep.
and once I'm done telling you what I know and what I can do, accept that's all I can do. That's
Yeah.
my participation.
That is the limit of my power. We
Yeah.
do not have godlike powers in here.
Right. So take it from there. And a lot of them think we're campground managers.
Oh, I love it when people says, "Are you
Yeah.
the manager?" No, I'm the host.
Yeah.
And even if I do say, even if I don't correct him and say I'm the host,
Yeah.
even if as a manager,
Well,
there's only so much you can do.
but as a manager, you do have some authority, though.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, you could. I mean, to the degree where you can say, well, if you don't like it here, get out. Just because you don't like it here.
Right.
We can't tell people, well, just because you don't like it here, get out.
Right. I mean, if a situation degrades to the point where a guest needs to leave, we're making a phone call.
And
we're bringing in somebody that has the ability to do that.
And that's pretty extreme.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to that point. It's
No,
the
I
last resort.
I got close earlier this year because
Yeah,
of an
I've had a
expectation that
couple.
wasn't being met.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
My expectation as a host is that you don't throw my wastebaskets into the vault.
Yeah. Nothing worse in my mind.
I had it happen
I never
three
even
times.
thought of it.
Had it happen 3
And-
times this year.
And this guy's got people shoving the wastebasket, the little garbage cans, down the crapper. Well, they can't be down there. You can't pump the crapper out with that down in there.
My brother works for a
And-
septic company. I
and
know. I hear the stories.
Oh, yeah, they get furious over that kind of thing.
When their hose
but-
gets clogged up with garbage,
Yeah,
oh.
they're not happy. But why in the world would somebody shove one down the toilet other than to be just a jerk, just being malicious, you know?
Well, but
And-
this leads itself to another expectation that I have, and this is actually as a parent, not a host. I keep an eye on my kids.
Right,
Keep an eye on your kids.
right.
Because at least 2 of those baskets, I don't know for sure about the third, but I'm pretty sure it was a kid.
Yep.
It was a bunch of kids that were running around the campground unsupervised, and when I say kids, I'm talking as
Yep.
young as 5.
Yep. Just running loose.
Just running loose. Parents were sitting on the campsite drinking beer.
Yep. See, and that's it, is they don't realize this isn't a daycare center where
No.
you can just turn your kids loose and the host will keep an eye on them.
Nope.
I'm not here to keep an eye on your kids. No, you're here to keep an eye on your kids. They're not mine. They're not mine. And if your kids are creating a hazard or damages,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? We're coming after mom and pop.
And
for that.
I did actually talk to mom and pop.
Yeah.
I talked to the kids. The kids, of course, denied it. And I said, well, let's go talk to your parents. And when I talked to the parents, I said, look, I'm not saying that I have any proof that they are
Right.
the ones that did it. However, I find it very suspicious.
Right. Very
that
strong suspicion.
I was in that bathroom. That can was there. And it's the bathroom across from my site in this case. So I
Right.
know who goes in and out
Right.
of it.
You see them coming and going.
10 minutes later, those kids were playing and going in and out of it. And then 10 minutes after that, my daughter goes in and discovers that can is in the wastebasket.
Right. Or in the
Or
crapper.
in the pit. I'm not saying that I have any proof that it's your kids, but I kind of have some pretty strong circumstantial evidence to suggest that it is your kids. Can you help me make sure this doesn't happen again?
Right.
And thankfully, these parents didn't get mad at me.
Right.
Because had they gotten mad at me, I would have had to pick up the phone and call somebody, because I had spoken to our supervisor at that point, and he said, well, if it happens again, or you talk to them and they get hostile, call RJ and have them thrown out.
Yeah.
It had gotten to that point. But thankfully, they were like, they looked at their kids and they went, what were you thinking? They took my word for it.
Yeah. Well, and there you go. Good old-fashioned parenting.
Yeah. Thankfully, it didn't end poorly.
Because
but
you
in the
wouldn't have
same
had
token,
any reason to come to them unless you
Right.
had a good,
Very
strong
good.
reason.
Well, and the
And-
other toilet that had happened that weekend was the one right next to their site, and those were the only kids nearby.
yeah.
I mean, it's not hard to figure out who did it.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, I just wish people would be prepared when they come camping.
Yes. Regardless of what
fi-
kind of campground you go
fig-
to.
Figure
There's the
out
motorcycles.
figure out where your firewood's coming from, or bring it with you.
Yep.
Bring some extra water with you just in case.
Just in case.
Bring plenty of garbage bags to clean up after yourselves.
Don't burn your garbage.
And don't put anything in that fire pit other than wood. I prefer just pure wood. You know, a lot of people, they burn their paper plates, everything. I don't care for that.
I don't either, because that paper plate's bleached and that leaches into the soil.
And so your fire pit, just burn wood in it. Don't put anything else in it. And they just took a break and they're heading out.
They took a break and they're heading out.
Our motorcyclists. But so some of the things, pre-anticipate what you might go to the host and say, well, I expected this. Don't expect it.
Don't.
Bring it with you and be prepared for the things that you should do. And the rules for staying at the campground are posted online, right at the Forest Service's website and recreation.gov. So find out what is expected of you and be prepared for it.
Yes.
And come to the camp realizing this isn't a city park. This isn't your local carnival. This isn't someplace you can just scream, holler, and raise Cain all day. This is someplace people come to get away from it all and to relax and to hear the nature sounds and just enjoy themselves without interference. And you'll have the same experience. You'll enjoy it just like everybody else. And that's my biggest expectation, is that you come and you leave here and you go, I love it. I want to do this again.
Yes, that is, and we love hearing that.
That people feel that it was worth every effort to go camping. And so
I'd be curious if there's any expectations we missed.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
I'm sure there are.
Lots of them. Lots of them. Otherwise, this video is going to be about 6 hours long, I think.
Yeah.
Because we can go on and on and on.
And we could.
Yeah, I know
Very easily could.
We have
personal
conversation, and we've gone for hours.
That one night that we were on the phone for what, 6 hours?
6 hours on the phone, talking about all the things in camp that happen and shouldn't happen, and but yeah, I totally agree. They should make comments. Get some comments down below. Tell us what you think. Some of the expectations
Ask
you
us
would
questions.
think. And if you got exactly. If you have questions about, well, should we expect this? Should we expect that? Whatever your questions may be, feel free to ask. We're there to answer them.
Absolutely.
And hey, all you guys, this fella renamed his channel. Share his channel on. We got to get this guy some subs.
274 as of this morning.
Good.
I gained 5 this weekend.
Yeah. That's 2 from last night, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. We want to see his channel growing. Please do. And mine, as usual, subscribe, ring the bell. You ring our bells, then you know when we're putting up videos or doing live streams, blah, blah, blah. And we love the thumbs up.
Love it.
And like we said, your comments, we love your comments. I read everyone. I don't get to answer everyone, but I read everyone.
I read everyone. I don't necessarily, like you said, I don't necessarily answer them unless they need an answer.
See, and that's it, is I don't answer them unless they ask a specific question I can readily answer.
Right.
And then I'll answer their question. So I want to thank all of you for sticking with us. I know this is long, but this is just really a drop in the bucket of the whole expectation discussion. But you might have a little better idea of some of the things we have to deal with when it comes to the almighty camper.
Yes, the almighty camper.
So,
because we are here for you to ensure that you have a good experience, but the expectation that we can fix everything
is just unreasonable.
Sorry, we can't.
No, we tried our best, but there's a lot of things we cannot do. So we do our best.
We do.
And I believe you come to any of our campgrounds, we'll do our best and you'll enjoy yourselves.
I
You'll
agree.
enjoy yourselves. So until later, guys,
Take care.
take care.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh yeah, that'll be.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. A little bit of editing, but that'll be good.